My plan would have the potential of actually sending the executives to jail. Nobody went to jail after $100 billion in fines were paid, and would give regulators the authority to go after the big banks. But I'm telling you, I will say it tonight. If only you look at the big banks, you may be missing the forest for the trees. We've got to look at all the other financial institutions.
In my view,
Bernie, say by
you
name
do
so
not. I will give you a second.
Okay, thank you.
I'll tell him. In my view, Secretary Clinton, you do not. Congress does not regulate Wall Street. Wall Street regulates Congress, and we have got to break off these banks.
Well, we want to bring in Bloomberg Politics' Phil Mattingly, who is live for us in Vegas. And Phil, we thought that Sanders might go after Hillary Clinton for not attacking Wall Street, but in his accusations for being in bed with Wall Street. So how do you think that went over?
I think it didn't go as expected, and I'll tell you why. Look, Bernie Sanders had a great one line there about Wall Street regulating Congress, but if you listen to Hillary Clinton's response, it was what she did all night. She was able to take issues that people thought were weak spots for her and go on offense, show contrast, and really kind of change the narrative of where she sat. Another major issue that we all knew would come up was her email issue. Obviously, that's dominated pretty much everything about her candidacy over the last couple weeks, Betty, last couple months, really.
Yeah.
She got some unexpected help from Bernie Sanders. Take a listen.
The American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails.
Thank you. Me too. Me too.
With the handshake and the happiness, that's the happiest I've seen Hillary Clinton probably in about 6 months. That was considered the weakest spot from a general election perspective, banks from a primary perspective. On all of these issues, Hillary Clinton came out of last night in a much better place than she was going in, Betty.
I was really surprised that Sanders did that because, I mean, he clearly just gave her a huge push by saying that.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Bernie Sanders. It was Martin O'Malley. It was Lincoln Chafee. It was Jim Webb. Almost across the board, nobody was willing to attack her on the email issue, which, if you look at polling, has been by far her weakest spot. On trust, on potential scandals, areas where there's a big opening there, they weren't willing to attack. They tried to attack on issues. But again, Betty, what was most interesting about last night, whether it was on gun control or whether it was on immigration or whether it was on Wall Street reform, Hillary Clinton was able to take issues, show contrast with candidates, and really go on offense. If you watch Bernie Sanders, who really came in with a ton of momentum to this debate, he was on his heels a lot of the night. And I think for a lot of us who know Bernie Sanders, have interviewed Bernie Sanders, that was a surprise. He usually handles these situations very well, Betty.
And, you know, Mark Halperin, who was there live at the debate along with you, put out his report card on how the candidates did. And let's bring them up, guys. Hillary Clinton, as you say, Phil, alluding to, I mean, she got an A. Bernie Sanders, a B-. Martin O'Malley, C+. Lincoln Chafee actually beating Jim Webb, a D+. Jim Webb, a D. I mean, I was almost going to give him an F for forgetting his daughter's name for a moment.
Yeah, it was a tough night for Lincoln Chafee, probably not much better night for Jim Webb. I think the issue with Martin O'Malley was last night needed to be his breakout performance, and he really did. He had a good closing statement, a sharp closing statement, but wasn't really able to rise above Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. The Hillary Clinton grade from Mark Halperin speaks for itself. She had a great debate night, and one of the key issues here, Betty, is if you talk to Democrats who have been watching, Democrats who've been very nervous, even those that support her candidacy, what she did last night was close off pretty much any avenue Joe Biden had if he decides to run. She wrapped herself in President Barack Obama's legacy. She showed competence. She showed that she was a fighter on stage. Joe Biden last night sitting at home watching that debate, according to White House officials, it's hard to see how he watched that debate and said, not only is there a weakness there, but there are issues that I can attack if I decide to get in that race. So not only did she have a good debate night, but she might have foreclosed Joe Biden.
So too late for him?
It's not too late. He hasn't made a decision yet. His team says he's still up in the air on that. But I do think most people in his orbit thought that he was not only going to watch the debate, but watch Secretary Clinton's Benghazi testimony on Capitol Hill next week before making a decision. Last night certainly didn't give him any sense that it's going to be any easier for him if he does get in, Betty.